All right, everyone, welcome and thank you so much for joining us for Merrimack's virtual webinar series, where tonight we're going to be focusing on our new Bachelor of Arts in Government program. Again, welcome. My name is Lucas Poyser. I'm the Senior Assistant Director for Visitor Services and Events here as part of the undergraduate admission team, and we're so glad you're here. And now we realize that many of you are listening in today from all over the country. Some of you may be familiar with Merrimack and are hoping to learn more about our new government program. Others may be engaging with us for the very first time. The webinar tonight is designed to give you a deeper look, of course, into our new Bachelor of Arts in Government program, the variety of concentrations that fall within the major, and a closer dive into the curriculum and the innovative nature of the degree. So I'll begin with a quick overview of Merrimack as an institution, and then we'll hear from our academic dean in the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Dan Herda. I'll jump back on at the end to discuss what the next steps are for all of you listening. Now, lastly, as we go through the information, please feel free to submit any questions you may have into the Q&A function in the Zoom. We're also joined tonight by Professor and Chair of the Department of Political Science, Policy and History, Ann Flaherty, to answer any questions in the chat. Last thing is as well too with the questions, we'll have a moment towards the end of the presentation where we'll pause and be able to address any outstanding or lingering questions you may have. So if you're unfamiliar with us as an institution, Merrimack College combines the resources of a larger university with the personal touch of a close-knit community. We're just 25 miles north of Boston, giving students easy access to internships, culture, and career opportunities. On campus, you'll find more than 4,100 undergraduates, 2,500 graduate students, and a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio. We have over 100 different undergraduate programs and 30 graduate programs, so students have plenty of options to explore, all with strong faculty who support you along the way. So those 100 different academic programs are all organized into 6 different schools. We have our Girard School of Business, School of Arts and Sciences, which the Bachelor of Arts in Government falls under, our School of Engineering and Computational Sciences, Nursing and Health Sciences, Education and Social Policy, and our new Graduate School of Counseling and Social Work. This structure gives you the flexibility to explore different fields, combine majors and minors, and work across disciplines. And for students who might be a little unsure about what they wish to study, our advising team will help chart a path that makes sense for them. At Merrimack, we're challenging the traditional model of higher education. So for too long, families have felt that a high quality private education is out of reach. And we're changing that. So by rethinking tuition pricing, we're offering degrees that are priced competitively with public options, giving students the choice and flexibility to receive a private education at a public school price. And that disruption is already happening here on campus. Our $17,000 tuition degrees in humanities drew nearly 75 students in their first year, proving that affordability and excellence can go hand in hand. Building on that success, we've expanded the model to include government, which you'll hear more about this evening, as well as creative arts and design. We've also added new programs in architecture with tuition set at $33,500. And we're continuing to make STEM, education, and criminal justice majors more affordable with guaranteed $20,000 academic scholarships. It's excellence at an affordable price point, and that's the Merrimack Promise. Now, we're also growing our campus. So in spring of 2026, so in a few short months, we'll open a brand new 19,000 square foot lecture hall featuring 5 modern classrooms and space for over 700 students. This facility is designed for collaboration and active learning, aligning with Merrimack's forward-thinking academic programs. And then starting in fall of 2026, 2 new residence halls will be open, adding 540 beds to campus. So these will include both traditional and suite style housing, plus an honors pavilion, a fitness center, and 12,000 square feet of academic space, creating a vibrant hub for student life and learning. All right, that's enough for me for now. You're all here to learn more about the Bachelor of Arts in Government. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dan Herda, our academic dean in the School of Arts and Sciences.
Thanks, Lucas. It's happy to be able to talk to you all today, even though I can't see you. I'm happy to share what we have put together with this government degree. So I'm Daniel Herda. I'm a professor of sociology, and I'm now one of the academic deans in the School of Arts and Sciences, which is where you'll find the new government degree. Um, the price, as Lucas said, is this unique approach that we're taking with this. We have been doing this for about a year now with the humanities degree, if you're familiar with that, which Lucas said became very popular. 75 students in its launch. It exceeded everyone's expectations. It was actually among those first semester freshmen is now the third most popular major on campus. It's so successful that we've decided to kind of recreate the model with government. And in my experience with humanities at events like this and at open houses and academic events, I talk about this degree with parents and students, and they see the price and they think, well, what am I not getting for that price, right? What's this discounted degree, but what am I missing out on? And the truth is, it's really nothing, right? It is the same high quality education, just at a more affordable price. It's that private school experience at the public school price. You are taking the same classes. You are in classes with people who are at different majors at different pricing tiers. You can do co-ops and internships. You can study abroad. You can play sports, intramural sports. You can be part of clubs. You can stay in the dorm. It's all there. You're a college student just like everybody else. There's really no difference. And I found that that's usually the first question that parents ask. It's just a lower annual tuition with clear price. Go ahead and flip the slide, Lucas. So the government degree specifically is going to give you some knowledge and detailed understanding about how governments function, how they work, how they're structured. And we're going to learn it as far as, individuals engaging with government from within it, but also outside of it. Because I don't want you to think that a government degree means the only possibility that's open to you is a job within government, because there are many different fields that deal with governments, right? There are businesses that have government contracts and work with governments, have to stay in compliance with laws and things like that. And you can get positions in those companies doing that, right? There are policy analysts and nonprofits where you can work with government related questions or informing government, but not be part of the government. And of course, this is a great pathway into legal fields, and pre-law is one of the concentrations we have here, where if you were a lawyer, you can be working kind of within the government, but not necessarily in it or as a government employee. Right, so there's a lot of possibilities with this. And as you go through the curriculum, you'll be looking at different theories and approaches to political systems and institutions and how they operate. We designed the degree to be flexible and give you lots of choice to kind of customize it and make your own and go in depth in the topics that you find the most interesting. And you'll see that with some of the concentrations that we have to offer, right? It'll let you build some interdisciplinary expertise because you'll work in that concentration, you'll take many courses in other areas, and you'll become a very well-rounded student who's able to engage with governments as citizens, professionals, and as decision makers, right? There's many skills that you'll develop that we curated the curriculum on purpose to hit these things like leadership, entrepreneurship, analysis, research, and communication. Go ahead for the next one. So here's the list of concentrations, right? This is the area of study where you'll concentrate a lot of your courses within the degree. You can see many of them are in the traditional majors that make up the political science, policy, and history department. Political science is there, history is there, sociology is part of it as well, which is my background. You can also see economics and communication, many of the majors we have here. But also some areas that get more specific and more specialized, things like cybersecurity and data science, things like leadership and organizational dynamics. There's a lot of choices depending on where you want to go. And as I said, pre-law is also one of the specializations, and it's one that seems to get a lot of interest among students who are looking and considering this degree. And if you look at the handsome face on this slide here, that's Andy Scott. He is a student who's in a political science student. He is in front of the Capitol building in DC. He took part in the DC semester that we run every year in cooperation with American University. And he's there taking classes and doing some internship work. So he's a great example of a star student. Go ahead and advance. Here's a little bit of detail into the curriculum. I'm not going to be able to tell about every single course that's available, but students will start with the Introduction to Government course, right? This is usually something you'll take in the first semester of your freshman year. It'll be your introduction into the study of government, but also into the major itself. You'll get a sense of what the major has to offer and what you can do in it, and you'll get introduced into government and how it works and how it's structured. You'll move on kind of in your next semester or in your sophomore year to start taking some introductory courses in government. You'll take two of them, one from the area of political science, one from the area of history, and the course titles are listed right there. Right, that's part of the interdisciplinary focus of this degree is it has many different areas of study that are within it. As you move along, you will take some upper level courses, two of them in specialized areas that the faculty have determined are important for skill development. The government institutions and influences, where you'll take courses like the presidency and Congress, campaigns and elections, US foreign policy, things like that. The challenges and problem solving, which are all about real world problems that governments might intervene and try to help. You'll get exposed to courses like government business and the law, the politics of food, and the sociology of immigration, which is my course, and I hope to teach that again soon. At this point, you're also hopefully have figured out what you want to concentrate in, and you'll be taking courses toward that end. Usually concentrations are 5 courses long. They're about the size of a typical minor. And as you move forward, you will also concentrate in certain skills. You'll have some choice here. Every student takes their research methods course, one of 2 options, where you learn how to analyze data, and you'll get some quantitative statistical skills that every student gets. But then you have some choices as far as how you want to expand and pursue those skills. You could take 2 courses in quantitative and technology, where you might learn to do geographic imaging systems, also known as GIS, or some more advanced statistical methods. There is a skills track in public speaking, communication, and presentation, which are very important skills for anyone working in government or petitioning the government or giving a speech in front of a panel of people from the government or something like that. There's also the applied learning track, which has a few courses in it, but it's also a great place if students want to fit in a co-op through Warriors at Work. It allows you to do that while sort of counting towards your credits and counting as 2 courses in the pursuit of this degree. Lastly, every student takes that senior seminar capstone, which is a course that's built around independent research and students developing a project that you manage and bring to fruition, of course, with your professor acting as your mentor. And this is obviously senior seminar. It's a course that you take during your senior year. It's kind of the cap on this degree that we have. In total, this is 16 courses and 64 credits, which allows you room to finish your core, and with overlap, maybe there might be a room for another minor if you pick strategically. Go ahead and advance. So hope you're getting the sense of what I'm describing, that there are some really key positives to this degree, right? The exceptional value is there. That $17,000 tuition is indeed very disruptive, and it has gotten a lot of traction, at least with the humanities, given the excitement and the high number of enrollments that we got just out of the gate. And we're hoping for the same response with the government degree. The career alignment, I mentioned a lot of things about skills that we're trying to emphasize, right? This was done intentionally. The Society for Human Resources Management, SHRM, SHRM if you want to call it that, they are an organization that's put together a list of things that employers are looking for. Not necessarily specific majors, but characteristics of their ideal employee. They need to be someone who can think critically, who can manage projects and lead projects, who can be adaptable and pivot and figure out how to be successful in new and different situations, that can work in groups, things like that. And these are exactly the type of skills that you get in the classes that are in the curriculum, and they were chosen for that reason. The degree is flexible, right? You have a lot of choice in terms of what your concentration is, what your skills choices are, and you have some choices in the courses that you take. So we want you to be able to shape this degree and make it your own, so you can take the courses that you're passionate about and you're interested in, and then shape that into a career trajectory that you will pursue for many years to come. There's also a move to create community through this. So if you saw at the beginning and at the end of the trajectory, right, at the intro to government and the senior seminar, there are opportunities where the entire cohort is kind of taking classes together, right? That initial introductory course, just about all students will likely be taking that together at the same time. The seminars might end up being smaller and have different sections of them, but you're taking those with people that you started the program with. So ideally, you have made connections and made friends with them along the way. With humanities, I know we have developed special space for those students and have a humanities club that's emerging and putting on different events. I imagine similar things. Many of them already exist within political science, but they will be um, sort of geared towards the government degree in the future. Go ahead and advance. And of course, this is true of the government degree, but also every degree at Merrimack is that you have the ability to customize your experience because your college experience isn't solely just stuff you're doing in the classroom. Right? There's outside of the classroom stuff that you can jump into and emphasize and sign up for that can really make your experience, these 4 years of college, very special. I mentioned the co-ops and internships. These are things where you would get some real world experience at a job. Warriors at Work involves co-ops where you can work for potentially 2 semesters for the equivalent of 2 courses in the major. And it's great to get that real world experience. And many students will, use that experience to get their first job out of college. Study abroad is a great option. I highly recommend it. I used to take students to Germany every year for a study abroad class on immigration. They are very transformative experiences. And if you're a student who's interested in governments, whether it's the US government or for governments internationally, international studies is, of course, a concentration within the major. Like study abroad is a great option for you. Research, right? Not only in government, but also in the humanities and creative arts and design there and communications as well. There's built-in courses where you're developing research projects. You are coming up with a unique question about the world and you're gathering data and learning something new about it. And that's part of what we want you to, the skills we want you to get. And it, being able to manage a project, bring it through fruition, right? That's the type of thing that you're going to have to do on the job market. And you get the skills to do that here and in the government degree. There's also many service learning opportunities through the Office of Mission and Ministry, where you can travel and kind of give back to the community a bit through your efforts.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. And I see a couple questions rolling in here, and so we're going to get to those momentarily. I see a question about concentrations and double concentrations and what students should do if they want to pursue a minor, and a couple questions, and even one or two that I saw from beforehand when you had the option to submit a question before about merit aid. So I'll get into that a little bit as well too. Here are the next steps. So obviously, I'm the admission representative here, so I'm going to encourage you to start your application whenever you feel that that is appropriate for you to do so. November 15th is creeping up on us, and that's our early action and early decision deadline. So if you feel you're confident in your application and ready to submit that for November 15th, that's awesome. We'll be able to turn around a decision for you. Typically, mid-December is what we shoot for. And of course, if you wanted to take a trip to campus, if you're local, or if you're planning a trip later on this fall, if you're coming from out of state, please feel free to come and visit us and take a tour of campus, see some of the spaces that a lot of students, particularly in the School of Arts and Sciences, are in, and some of the classroom spaces as well too that you might be taking courses in. And then we also have a couple more open houses coming up as well. So we're going to have one on Sunday, November 2nd, and also one on Sunday, December 7th. Great opportunities for you to meet folks like Dan and Anne, and learn more specifically about government and talk to more and additional faculty in those spaces. Connect with your admission counselor as well too. So these are the folks that are currently out on the road, our colleagues and friends who are going to your high schools or going to college fairs that you might be attending in the evenings. So if you're able to engage with them while they're out in your region, definitely do that, but feel free to reach out to them as well too. They'll certainly be pushing you additional information about Merrimack. And then follow us on social media, of course, because why not? It's always a good place to stay up to date with whatever's going on regarding Merrimack. So I wanted to get to a few of these questions as well too that we see. And so maybe Dan, if you're interested in popping on to talk a little bit more about concentrations, what do students can students do 2 concentrations? Are they subjected to just one, or will that open them up to do a minor as well throughout the program?
So the short answer is yes. but there's a couple of different ways that you might be able to do it, right? The concentration, you need one of them to complete the degree. You also need a minor to complete your core courses, right? The new core that we put into place a year ago has every two student take a couple of kind of required things. There's an RT, a religious studies course. There's a social science course, a STEM course, a humanities course. But every student has to choose a core minor to take. And you can choose among the option of core minors many of the concentrations that are in there. So if you're political science, I don't know what the person who asked that question, what their first choice was. Let's say it's political science. You could use that as your concentration, and then core minor in sociology, or core minor in economics, core minor in environmental studies, which are other concentrations in the degree. You also, because there is a fair amount of overlap between some of the core courses and the degree, so courses can count for more than one thing at a time. You need to get to 124 full total credits to be able to graduate. And there's enough room in there to fit a minor, should you choose. And you also have to pick strategically, and it's good to plan that out very early. But so in short, yes, and there's a couple of pathways to do it though.
I saw a question come in earlier as well too from the form when we had you submit that for the webinar this evening. Someone asked about if students are eligible for merit aid with this major, or is it strictly the discounted tuition price? So I can go ahead and address that one. So just so you all know, 99% of students at Merrimack are getting some sort of merit scholarship from us. You know, that's primarily based on your transcript and the rigor of your high school experience and education. That's for all students across all majors in all of the five different schools that we have. So the range for merit scholarship for students in the Bachelor of Arts in Humanities is $1,000 to $6,000 every year. And that's the merit aid that we're able to offer students specifically within the Bachelor of Arts in Government. So yes, they're eligible. The range of what that looks like might be a little different from the other programs that we offer, because now it is no surprise to all of you that many of our different programs are priced differently, and that merit scholarship is in range that aligns with the different programs that cost different prices. So I hope that makes sense. But again, that merit range aid or the merit aid range for the Bachelor of Arts in Humanities is $1,000 to $6,000 every year. All right, let's see what else is rolling in here. We had a question about students that are currently in the program.
Mhm.
Our student For students who are currently in the program, how does that work? Are we switching them over to the government with specific concentration, or how does that look for students who are currently in the program?
I can speak to that. So right now we don't. This is a new major that we're going to have next year. So students now might be in political science, they might be in history, they might be majoring in something that's related, or have a minor that's connected to what we will be offering. And so they might have an interest in the program. The question notes the Intro to Government course, you are correct, is not going to be offered in the spring. So the first offering for it would be in the fall of 2026. So that would be when students could take it for the first time. As far as I understand, existing students are going to have the capacity to change their major and move into the new government major. But they would want to check and make sure that they could complete all of the degree requirements. Likely for a freshman, especially if they've taken sort of introductory level classes, many of those classes will be able to transfer into this new major too. What I would say the best thing to do is please advise your student to come see me. And I can talk them through. We can look at what their transcript looks like, or an academic advisor, and see how does that fit in. But a lot of the core courses for the government major, or the potential for that political science concentration, would probably be able to account for some existing coursework. So, especially with a freshman where we've still got a lot of time to add in additional courses, I think we would have a really good chance of making that work. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. And I see a question that came in here. Is there a cap in place for this government degree? And now I'm assuming that by cap, you're meaning a cap in the number of students that we're able to have in the program, or I'm not entirely sure.
Well,
How
there's
do you
definitely
understand?
not that. We'll be delighted to take as many as we can get.
Excellent. That's what I assumed as well too. But Ben, if we got that wrong and you meant something different, please feel free to clarify. We're happy to address that. Um, and then a question from that came in from David for concentrations. For the concentrations, there are some that are within both the humanities and government. How are they the same or different? For example, communications, and how would that be different from a straight communications major outside of the new 17K majors?
So the concentrations themselves would be the same, right? Those five courses that make up the communications minor, it's the same in government, it's the same in humanities. What's different is the core around it, what courses you'll be taking. And the government and degree is going to have a lot more political science and social science types of courses and history courses, whereas humanities will have more philosophy and humanities types of courses. So you have to kind of pick what's interests you more. It's multiple pathways into, a communications concentration. If you want to go into greater depth with communications, right, I'd recommend the full communications major. You have a lot more time, especially if you're interested in the media side of communications. If you want more time with learning about the different equipment, recording and broadcasting, things like that, and courses related to that, a full communications major would probably be your best bet, and that's at a different price point. But the humanities and government gives folks who have interest in communication a low cost way to access it.
And there are, so something like the communications one is indeed the same, whether you're humanities or government. There's a couple other ones that in our short bulleted lists that don't lay out that there are actually some differences. So there's a history concentration in both humanities and government, and there's some different sets of classes involved in those. One that in government is geared more towards governing decisions and institutions, and the humanities one that ties more to culture and society writ large. The other one that there's some distinctions in the course offerings are leadership. So we have two distinct leadership paths. It's just the full titles don't fit on all the slides. So there's a couple that are indeed very much the same, and then there's a couple that have some subtle differences.
And then Steve, and I can address this one. So Steve had a follow-up on the merit, the range that I gave before. Does it also include the honors housing scholarship, or how does all of that work? So basically, the best way I can explain this is that if you are, there are no restrictions to the Bachelor of Arts in government. Really, the only restriction is you can't double major. Other than that, you can swap out of the major if you want. If you decide you want to be a part of the Bachelor of Arts in Government and change, you can do that. What that looks like, whether you're changing in or out of the program, is that your financial aid package is going to be reworked based on the price that you are paying. So the ranges of merit scholarship could change. The housing scholarship won't change as long as you're living on campus. We're able to give students a housing grant. I can tell you that. So it is kind of a weird case by case basis as we're kind of jumping into fully tiered pricing and what that looks like in terms of your comprehensive financial aid package. But as we see students kind of swapping or switching or changing majors into the different tiers that we have in terms of pricing, what's going to change along with that is the financial aid package that you're getting. And so those are great conversations that you'll have with Anne in terms of the academic side of things, and also our financial aid office in terms of what your package looks like as things start to shift around. So any changes in terms of major would kind of be on a case by case and having those conversations to figure out what scholarships are staying and what the ranges of those scholarships look like moving forward. I hope that makes sense, Steve. But I know that the scenario is quite unique, but we're happy to kind of counsel you through it a little bit more and talk offline about the certain situations that you're in and what makes most sense for you. We'll leave it open for a few more seconds, but thank you all so much for joining us this evening. We're super happy to talk to you a little bit more about the Bachelor of Arts in Government and Merrimack as a whole. You'll be able to get some follow-up after this with the recording as well too, so that you'll be able to reference any of the information that we've spoken about. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you engage with us in the future and potentially look forward to seeing you on campus sometime soon.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.